Hey guys, welcome to this explainer. Look, I know exactly how you're feeling right now. You're staring down the barrel of those Class 10 board exams. The syllabus looks like an absolute mountain, and everybody keeps telling you how crucial this year is, right? Well, I've literally been in your shoes. And as your senior, I'm here to tell you, take a deep breath. English isn't just some subject you cram for the night before, it's something you can absolutely master if you've got the right strategy. So today, we're going to break down the entire Class 10 English syllabus, organize it so it actually makes sense, and give you the exact playbook you need to score those top marks. Let's conquer this thing together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're looking at Welcome to Class 10, First Flight Prose Themes, First Flight Poetry Meanings, Footprints Without Feet, Decoding CBQs, and finally wrapping up with Your Senior's Study Strategy.
All right, Section 1, Welcome to Class 10, the blueprint for success. Let's get into it.
Okay, right off the bat, you can instantly see the entire landscape of your year organized here into two main columns. Visually splitting the syllabus like this, it literally removes the fear factor. On the left is your main textbook, First Flight. Think of this as your heavy hitter. It's got diverse prose, letters, diary entries, travelogues, speeches, stuff like A Letter to God and Nelson Mandela. Oh, and it holds all your poetry too. Then, on the right, we've got Footprints Without Feet, your supplementary reader. This whole book is basically short stories focused on character development and situational drama, like The Thief Story and Bully. See? Just two books with very specific types of content. Not so scary now, is it?
Moving on to Section 2, First Flight Prose Themes, Finding the Common Threads. Now what's really interesting about this slide is how we're grouping things. Instead of just studying chapters randomly, you got to chunk them by overarching themes. For example, link Lencho's absolute faith with Nelson Mandela's incredible resilience against apartheid. Suddenly, your revision becomes way more digestible. You actually start seeing the broader connections. Look at the theme of overcoming fear. You've got the young seagull who's totally paralyzed by self-doubt but finally takes flight out of sheer hunger, paired with the pilot in the black aeroplane finding hope in a literal storm. And then there are these deep life philosophies, like how the Buddha teaches Kisa Gotami about detachment and the universal nature of death in the Sermon at Benares. Grouping them this way, that's how you study smart, guys. Let's look a little closer at A Letter to God, just to show you what examiners are really looking for. Honestly, it's not just about knowing the basic plot, it's about grasping the deeper themes. So, Lencho's crops get completely destroyed, and his blind faith leads him to literally write a letter to God asking for cash. The postmaster, acting out of pure empathy, actually collects the money for him. But, and here's the kicker, when Lencho gets it and realizes it's a little short, he gets furious and calls the post office employees a bunch of crooks. This right here is the core irony of the chapter. It's that wild conflict between absolute faith and human fallibility. Actually understanding this specific irony is exactly what's going to get you those top marks.
All right, Section 3, First Flight, Poetry Meanings, Beyond the Rhyme.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we mean by going beyond the rhyme. Robert Frost's Fire and Ice is incredibly short, but man, it packs a massive philosophical punch. When you break it down, Frost is using these elements symbolically. Fire isn't literally fire. It represents uncontrolled, self-destructive human desires, while ice represents cold, destructive hatred. The poet is cautioning us that these unchecked human emotions can literally lead to the collective destruction of the world. Grasping that fire and ice equal human emotion, that's the real key to unlocking this poem for your exams.
Let's quickly outline the other major poetic themes you'll run into. In Dust of Snow, we see how something as minor as a crow shaking snow from a hemlock tree onto the poet can totally transform a day of despair into one of optimism. It's all about nature's healing. Then in the Ball poem, the core message is about a boy losing his beloved ball in the water, experiencing loss for the very first time, and learning the harsh reality of responsibility and emotional resilience. Moving to A Tiger in the Zoo, we see this stark, super depressing contrast between a tiger confined in a tiny concrete cell versus its natural wild instincts, really highlighting the profound value of freedom. Grasping these core messages, that is your ultimate goal here.
Okay, jumping to Section 4, Footprints Without Feet, the Supplementary Reader.
So, this supplementary book is entirely character-driven. It is absolutely perfect for testing your situational understanding. When you revise this, you want to hyper-focus on character sketches and moral transformations. Take A Triumph of Surgery, for instance. It highlights the exact consequences of Mrs. Pumphrey's wild overindulgence of her dog, Tricky.
Then you have The Thief's Story, which is just a brilliant study in how Anil's absolute trust completely transforms Hari Singh, who is a seasoned thief. And The Necklace? It shows how Matilda's superficial pride, vanity, and a single lost diamond necklace lead to a lifetime of absolute ruin. When you study this book, track how the characters change from page 1 to the end. I promise you, that is exactly where your exam questions are going to come from.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 5. Decoding competency-based questions, the plot twist. Okay, I really want you to look at this definition clearly. Competency-based questions, or CBQs, are not your usual boring recall-based questions. They evaluate critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills. Basically, they align your education with real-world applications. They might give you a case-based passage to interpret, maybe a creative writing prompt based on a weird scenario, or ask for a situational response. But let me reassure you right now, this new format actually removes the need for stressful, mindless rote memorization. You don't just memorize anymore, you understand and apply. It's a real game changer.
So why are we talking about this so intensely? Because CBQs carry a massive 30% weightage in your exam. 30%. You literally cannot ignore this format if you want a top score. That means nearly a third of your paper will be testing how well you think on your feet, not just how well you remember facts from a textbook. So the crucial point is really understanding this shift. On the left, we have the old habits. Rote learning. Memorizing facts and direct recall. Honestly, that just won't get you far anymore. On the right, we have what you need right now. Competency learning. You have to creatively apply your knowledge to case-based prompts, analyze overarching themes, and write situational responses. Like, if a question asks you what Lencho would do if he lived in the modern era of digital banking, you can't just quote the book. You have to apply his character traits, his innocence, his blind faith, to a brand new, creative situation. That is what competency is all about.
All right, bringing it all together in Section 6, your senior study strategy, the winning playbook.
Now, this is the perfect 3-step formula for writing those long-form 5-mark answers. This is the exact method my teachers always told us would instantly impress the board examiners. Step 1. Begin with a short, theme-based introduction. Tell the examiner right out of the gate that you know what the chapter is really about. Step 2. Explain the idea with specific textual references. Quote the text, describe the specific event, and show off your evidence. Step 3. Conclude with the value or life lesson that the story imparts. Keep it all within the word limit and maintain good paragraph clarity. I'm telling you, if you use this structure, you are practically guaranteeing yourself top marks.
And to wrap up the strategy, here is your concrete revision checklist. First up, solve those PYQs, previous year questions. I cannot emphasize enough that PYQs and sample papers are your absolute best friends for understanding this new CBQ format and identifying high-probability questions. Next, master your NCRT solutions so you learn the accurate answer formats. Don't forget to practice your grammar workbook exercises regularly too. And finally, review and keep some short notes on character sketches, poetic devices, and writing formats for a quick revision right before exam day. Seriously, keep this checklist right on your desk. So, there it is. The syllabus is laid out, the exam pattern is completely decoded, you've got the answer writing formula and the ultimate revision checklist. See? The mountain really isn't so scary when you have a map. The only thing left to do now is to take that very first step. So, look at your books, look at this roadmap we've built, and tell me, which chapter will you master first today? Go hit the books, guys. You've totally got this.